Welcome, welcome everyone. As you come in, please feel free to say hi. I am just posting some notifications as we get ready to go live, and this goes out across my channels. So, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you on the show tonight. We are going to be painting this evening this beautiful photo. I am just getting things set here, so please come in, say hello, and sit a while, grab a drink, grab some snacks, and we will be trying to paint this beautiful sunset that was taken by my friend Mimi San Pedro, and she has kindly allowed me to use this as a reference photo. Um, so that's what we'll be working on, and I'm posting to Instagram. So sorry for the distractedness. Let's post it to the story too. All right. Let me go to. We'll post it also. Let's post it to Facebook stories. Maybe. We'll try it. How's everyone going? No worries. Thanks, Max. Totally understand it. It is Saturday night. But thanks for popping in. And this will definitely be on. I'll have the painting posted on Instagram. And of course, these videos will be live. Hey, Abby. So good to see you. Thanks for popping in for a few minutes. This is a photo that we're going to be working on this evening. So it looks like I didn't get over to the shop today, but it looks like your little business colleague did quite well with his macaroon sales today, didn't he? That's really incredible. I'm so proud of you and happy for him. Thanks for inspiring the next generation. Hey there, Mom. Welcome. I'm going to be painting this sunset tonight. I'm trying to get things posted to, let's see, let's do my news feed, and I am not good at doing multiple things at once. I guess it's a stereotypical man thing, right? Okay. We got that posted. Hey there, Daniel. Welcome. Glad to have you. Yes, Mom, it is a beautiful picture. My friend Mimi, who works at the Venture Center where I used to work, she took this, I think, close to her house this last week, and I saw it and I asked her if I could paint it, so she let me do that. Hey there, Rachel. It's so good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. I'm going to be painting this sunset that my friend Mimi took, so looking so excited, so excited. Okay, let's see. I'll get all posted to all the places I need to. I guess I should do this first, but then um, I'm always afraid that I'll post it and it'll say that I am live when I'm not. So, aw, Daniel, thanks. You're so kind. Yes, my mother is here at least for the moment, and She definitely is the major reason that I am a good friend, a good man, anything good she can claim great responsibility for. Okay, I think I've posted Instagram. Snapchat's the final one. We'll get this started and then we'll jump in. Um, let us link to YouTube and we will attach it to Snapchat and people can join there. Okay, I don't know why I'm singing that. All right, y'all, we are ready. Let me set my camera up. I just have to start one last app. Oh, not that one. And then I'll be able to use my cell phone as a camera feed, which will be perfect. Then I'll be able to, yes. We will put this up here. That way y'all can kind of see what's going on. Oh, whoops. I always forget. Instagram, I have to film one way and, oh, turn me around. Let's see, just a second. I think, okay. Let me see how this is. I always want to make sure that the camera angle is correct. Okay. So there's the camera angle. Y'all see my screen on the left side, my painting on the right. Okay, perfect. I think we're good. All right. I am going to drag this up here in the corner. That way you can kind of see what I'm working on as I work. And I will compare over here because my screen comes across kind of faded here. The picture you see in the right-hand corner is actually closer, but I can look then down at the screen and not have to look off here. So, but I wanted to show y'all, this is what I did last night. I still have some work to do, but if you are interested in following my progress, I started painting probably in April or May, just using YouTube tutorials. And so I've started live streaming as I paint on the weekdays whenever I can. It's really impromptu. I call it an impromptu paint party. And that's only on Instagram. I go Instagram live and paint in the evenings whenever I can. So if you're interested in following periodically or kind of ad hoc basis, definitely follow at Stephen E. Rice on Instagram and you'll be notified when I go live there. It's more informal. It's just through my phone, so I just set up one view. But we work on a different painting than we do on the weekends. On the weekends, I simulcast through Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, a bunch of different places, and we do a separate picture. So if you tune in on the weekdays, you'll come across something different on the weekends, and you can kind of see what's going on. All of my photos or my paintings as I paint them, I usually put progress paintings on Instagram, so that's a great place to kind of follow what's going on. So that is the deal. Aw, thanks, Mom. I'm glad you like me. So, and this picture was a painting. I don't think I have the original here. Oh, yeah, maybe I do. That my friend Amy Nichols took, and she allowed me to paint her photo of a fall tree. So that's what I was working on there. And then last weekend, I did my first animal, y'all. Isn't he cute? It's we called him, I think, Leon the Llama. Leon the Llama. I think that was the name we came up with. For reference, this was the photo that we used. This was a photo I took in Peru last year. You could tell it still needs a little work. I'm not quite happy with the color of the hills. They're a little green, but the shape and everything, the structure for the photo is really good, and I'm happy with Leon's color in his fur. That's really difficult, and the stone wall. That was something that I had not done that I was learning. So it's really fun, and I use these these paintings as an opportunity to learn new things. Typically, what I'm doing during the week when I'm not live streaming or painting is that I'm gonna get ready here. That I will what do I do? Oh, I watch tutorials on YouTube. So, for example, if I want to learn to paint stones effectively, I'll watch YouTube tutorials on how to paint rocks and stones. The same with water is something I'm working on right now. So, you will probably see some paintings with water in the future. Welcome, welcome to all of you that are coming in. There are several more of you that have joined the live stream. I'm so happy to have you. I was just telling the group you can follow on Instagram at Stephen E. Rice during the weekdays. I paint, and you're welcome to join. It's more informal. This is informal too, but we just chat and I paint and I talk about what I'm learning and what I'm trying. And then yeah, that's the deal. On the weekends, we paint a different photo, a different painting, but it is simulcast through Facebook and YouTube. So you can subscribe on YouTube and follow what I'm doing there. That's every week. I try to do every weekend, typically Saturday night, sometimes Sunday night. And it just comes because I like chatting. I like having people around while I paint. So it's the MO for tonight and every live stream is kind of open house. So pop in, pop out, pop in at the beginning, pop out, and then pop in to see how things are going. This is kind of late, I know, for most of the country, other than some of you out west. But yeah, that's the deal. We paint for a couple of hours, and I kind of talk about my process, what I'm learning, what I'm trying, and we go from there. But I do get your comments here on my software that I'm simulcasting through, so please feel free to say hello, chat with me, and ask any questions you have as we go through the evening, and I'm happy to answer those questions and talk about my process and what I am learning as well. So, to get started, one of the things that I like sharing with people is that, well, often people will say, "Oh, you have improved so much," because they've maybe watched over the last few months. And one of the things that I like to encourage people, especially if you're interested in this type of endeavor, um, I yes have a certain amount of um, I guess creativity in looking at a photo and recognizing, saying this is beautiful, I want to paint this. But I think my real skill actually is in learning to break down the puzzle of how something's constructed, and that's the fun that I find in it. So it's a different approach. It's less maybe artistic or creative. Yes, it's a creative expression, but I'm really interested in how my brain really loves breaking apart the puzzle. And I realized that, which I'm grateful painting taught me that. That's something that I find in all my work. That's why I love teaching. I love breaking apart the puzzle that's going to help students learn, that's going to be most effective. And so that's the part I love about painting. So when I'm thinking about a new painting, when I'm looking at something like this painting that or this photo, I'm looking at the colors, how they're constructed, what the sky in this case, because this is the main area of the painting, how we get this blend of colors, how the how we lay the colors in on top of each other for the clouds so they look as effective as possible. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this yet. Um, Hola, Carlos. It's good to have you on the live stream. So as I'm looking at this as a painting, I'm looking at the composition, which is how are these things laid out in the image. I chose this because it's relatively simple composition compared to something like the llama that I showed you earlier, which had hills in the background and trees in the background, and then the llama in the foreground and the stone walls at different areas. That was an exercise in perspective. This is more about the color blending as well as this simple composition, which is basically sky and clouds and the trees, which is very simple because this is like going to be a dark, not quite black, but the composition is fairly simple. So when we are breaking this down, I have to figure out, do I start and paint the whole, I'm going to paint the whole sky, but do I paint all the blue all the way down to the yellow, or do I break this apart and try to leave these kind of spaces open? What I think I'm going to do is start with the blue and then gradually gradient, make it more and more gray, which which will be incorporating black and white into it. Will make it more gray as we get into these oranges. Um, and then the yellow down here in the corner will be completely bright yellow, because there is no blue showing through there. So that's the plan. That's how I break it down. Um, hey there, Alex. So good to have you joining again. Thanks for popping in. I debated, sir, picking your photo tonight, but it's so complex from a composition standpoint. Again, I really want to do it. I want to do it justice. So that's one I think that I'll be doing in the next week or two. But I wanted something that was a little easier composition wise. Those of you on the call, Alec, who just joined or on the call, on the live stream, Alec, who just joined, is one of my students, and I picked up one of his photos. He's a great photographer, really gifted, and he took a picture near his home, and it's kind of a pond and some trees and beautiful kind of morning shot with kind of some fog or mist coming off the pond, and really, really beautiful. And so that's one I want to paint, but it's one I really want to do justice to. So I'm kind of putting it off, but definitely will be going forward. Okay, so let's get some paint on the palette, you all, after my 15 minutes of what I do and why I do it and how I do it. So we need some blue. I'm going to need some blue. I'm going to put some ultramarine blue and maybe a little... I have some purples up here as well, but maybe some phthalo blue, maybe. Oop, that's a lot of blue. And we'll just see, because I'm not sure what we will need. We can kind of play with it as we go. We'll need some yellow. I'm going to use, I think, some... I have some medium hue, cadmium yellow, which is just a bright yellow. Nobody look. Okay. My teeth are too old to be doing that. So this kind of just bright, cadmium yellow. That's kind of a yellow that we'll use down in the right-hand corner. And then, of course, we'll need some orange. We can mix some orange and kind of that pink color. Oh, apparently I haven't used orange. Let's see. As I said at the beginning of the stream, feel free to comment, ask questions, or visit as I go. I enjoy visiting with you all as I paint, or if you have questions about what I'm doing, or my process as I'm developing it, because it's just, I am just developing the process as I go. So right now, let me put a little black. I won't need black till later, so I won't do that. So this is the palette right now. White, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, cadmium yellow, and some orange. I don't know what they call this orange. Just anaranjado, orange, just orange. So those are the main colors we'll use, and then of course we'll come in with some pinks for the clouds. So let's mix a little bit of the. Let's see if we can mix this blue up in the corner. See if we can get that kind of blue, purple-ish color that the sky is at the very top. It's ultramarine blue that we're going to need. So We'll mix that. Ultramarine blue is kind of a, I don't know why it's ultramarine, I guess because it's more than marine, but it brings in kind of a purple hue. So that's kind of what we want. Maybe. So the Small World Story with Bob and Grammy. I don't remember, Abby. What? Tell this, or if it's not too long, type the story in the comments because I don't remember. I think Bob told me something, or maybe you did, because I remember something, but was it they went to school together, or I can't remember. Okay, y'all. So this is what I'm mixing, kind of that purplish blue. Um, it's just such a bright. I don't know. Like it's such a bright color that I want more. Ah, they were college pals. Excellent. Yeah, I can't remember if you told me that or Bob mentioned that. I think Bob may have mentioned it. Bob may have mentioned it to me. That is, of course, it's a small world. Of course, I am not shocked at all in Arkansas that that happened, right? Okay, I think actually this purple is like in here. So we'll come in and lay some of this color. I need to mix more of this. Yes, that's awesome. That would be great. Remind me when I come to the shop. I need to definitely. I wanted to swing by this morning um, to try the macaroons, but by the time I got there, it was he was sold out. I saw your post about him being sold out, so I was like, that's. I mean, it's great. Happy, happy for him for sure. Okay, I'm making a mess, y'all. This is how you know I am not a pro. Okay, so we'll start with some more sky blue up here, go across, and then bring in the purple. Um, more of the purple. I'm not very nuanced in my painting yet, but I try. Okay. What we're doing now is just trying to cover the canvas. So let's take some of this blue, some white, mix it in, get that more of that purple. Have I ever painted on that display? So I just realized there are paint splatters from the other night on here. Yeah, it's fairly close. Um, I actually wanted it up higher so it would be kind of up, but I don't. I'm not too worried about getting paint on the display, and it's actually a brand new upgrade to my little paint corner. So the display I just set up last night, and I did a live stream on Instagram last night, and that was a first time trying to use the display. So I may have to the mount that I have it on. I thought it would be higher and it would stretch. I thought it would stretch up because it flips. I can flip the screen landscape or port. What do they call it? Portrait. So yeah, I thought it would sit up higher, but it doesn't. So that's kind of the the deal. But yeah, I am realizing that fortunately these are acrylics, so they clean up easily. So I may have to go to my screen with a good screen cleaner to clean it off because when I hit the corners, like on the edge, I noticed right here there's some you can't see them, but there's some splatters. Um, we will try to avoid it though. Okay, let's come in, y'all. that's the way not to avoid it. This is just, need more. I think I'm going to have to play with some mediums to make the paint flow and not dry as quickly. I haven't done that yet, but I need to start playing with that with different mediums and test different mediums. Across here, I just put a band of kind of paper tape. That way I get a good horizon, and then when I go put the trees in, it will be good. So that's kind of, I want to kind of go in here and put in some basic spots where the blue is, but I want to leave some open white spaces that will be the bright oranges and yellows, so I don't have to paint over the blue. Great question, Abby. How many paintings have I done now? So I started, like I said, in April or May. I can't remember exactly when I started. And when I started, the goal was to, I had no painting experience. And so I was just following YouTube tutorials. And thankfully, Alec, who popped in earlier, kept, and when I'd see him at school, he kept saying, Mr. Steve, you've got to stop painting tutorials. You got to do originals. You got to do something original. But I didn't have the skill. I didn't even have the basic skills. And I said, yes, that's the plan. That's the plan. And so then basically one time I decided to start at least trying to paint from photos. So I've been doing landscapes, and then last weekend I did my first animal. And so I'm going to do more animals and different types of landscapes. But that was the start. And so I think paintings, I probably did about 6 that were tutorials, which were just copies of someone else's work. And I've probably done a good 6 to 8 that are my own. But I'm painting so much and so often that I try to do at least 2 paintings a week. But I'm getting to the point where they're fairly complex, and I don't get them finished. But I know y'all probably don't want to watch the same painting over and over and over in live streams. So I paint more than I am on camera. I'll do a lot of the detail work or finish work on some paintings off camera. But yeah, I've probably done anywhere from 8 to 14 paintings total. So yeah, that's what I've done. Oh, I just messed up there. Maybe let's blend it in a little bit. Okay, we'll see how that plays out. Okay, so we will let this dry a little bit. Because it is acrylic. It's tacky, but it's already almost dry. Almost before I can paint it, it's dry. While that is happening, I want to mix some of this color. So I want to look at some of the, let's see, some of this orange and yellow. Let's see if we can figure out this bright yellow. That is just a bright yellow. And I have the straight yellow, but I wonder if I add a little white to it, if it will not lighten it up, but make it almost more iridescent. And I like what's happening here, so I think that's the way to go, because I had the cadmium medium, and so I think that's like a, if you can tell, it's straight up like Big Bird yellow. And so you can see with a little white, it tones it down a little bit, and I think it will be really pretty for these brightest spots here. So I'm going to bring in some more white, just make it as iridescent as possible. And then the gesso underneath, or the white of the canvas, will also shine through, so that will be really pretty. So, all right, there we go with that yellow. We'll take it all the way up here. Okay. And you can see, I don't know if you can see this, but I'll show it to you in a second. This is a little bit of a mess because now I have hard lines. However, so notice because it dries so quick, how I have hard lines on these of this yellow. I probably should have painted the yellow. Now that I'm thinking about it, I should have painted this yellow first in this corner, and then painted the blue over it. Which logically now I'm like, duh. Um, Obviously, dark over light is easier than light over dark. However, we can work it out because this will be also kind of covered with, or there will be orange in the clouds around this. So I'm not terribly worried. We just have to make sure this is all dry. Now, I think I'm going to have to do another coat of this blue, which actually may end up being a benefit because then we can bring it all the way down to these clouds. So let's see what we're going to do. And then down here, I really need to bring, this needs to be much more purple. So I wonder if I bring in some, one of the things I'm trying to work on as well with landscapes, and this is a good example, or any painting really, and it's frustrating because I want to be perfect. I want to be not perfect, but I want to be efficient and effective quickly. Um, is getting the right tone of color or the right colors in the right places, and then because with painting a portrait, obviously, or a photo, we're trying to make a 2D image look 3D, right? We're trying to basically do an illusion, or a trick of the eye. And so we use colors, we use these to suggest shadows or light or different things to make it look 3D. And one of the things that, as you're constructing a painting, you want to think about is, can I get the various shades of the colors correct at the beginning when I'm just laying down the color? Because if I can get this correct, then I can lay in the details fairly easily. I go put in some clouds, put in some trees, and it's done. But if you don't get the right color, which takes some real work to do, um, that becomes a real challenge. So, yeah, that's something that's in my head. Is when I look down here, I see the purples at the skyline, um, and they are, then you have those bright clouds on top of them, but there's actually some purple hues underneath. So I'm going to actually bring in some pretty dark purple, not dark dark, but light dark, down here at the bottom of this, and try to blend this in here. So we get along this horizon line some purples there, and then I like that. I like what's coming out. So, or how it's coming out. So I'm gonna just do some more, just really, and try to blend that in with the where it's going. And this is all because this again is drying so fast. There's not a lot of time to blend it, and so that's part of the challenge, is getting the right tones of the right color. But yeah, that's my world and that's my challenge. But the cool thing is, like a few months ago, well, even a few weeks ago, light dark, not dark dark. Yeah, a few months ago or a few weeks ago, even I couldn't mix colors really at all. I'm still, it's still something I work on pretty consistently, but getting much better. And so I know that I can improve, like if I just keep with it and keep learning, obviously, from other people. And so, yeah, that's the deal. Maybe deeper blue in the upper left corner. This is gorgeous. Okay, so Natasha, you welcome. But yeah, I'm excited. So I'm actually mixing this purple I did down here a little bit with the blue I did before. So you kind of read my mind, or you're thinking the same thing as I am. So I want to come in with a little more of a purple blue hue to do kind of lay in some, bring in darker. That's a little too purple, I think. Let me bring in some blue. But yeah, a little bit darker in the top corner because that's such a vibrant blue. I think you called it exactly. We just blend this all in, and then we'll get, as this dries one level or one kind of coat into another, we'll get these really beautiful hues that will hopefully look like a real sky, because there won't be just, it's not just blue or blue purple, we'll hopefully get various shades of blue and purple and pinks and very different ranges of color tones. So that is the plan. That's so kind. Thank you, Natasha. I was telling everybody on the call, I keep saying that, on the live stream, that I really see this process as a process of, more than anything, problem solving. And so, yeah, it's figuring out how to solve problems with colors and shapes, and colors, shapes, shadow, perspective. That's the goal. That's what I'm trying to do here. What kind of problems do I need to solve? What kind of problems can I solve with the tools that I have in front of me? I like your suggestion to go darker up here, so I'm actually going to do that. Bring that all the way across if I can, and kind of blend it down toward the horizon. I have this really deep blue on my palette, so I'm excited to lay in some of these other colors because I think it would be really pretty. So, okay. Good blue? Okay, I saw that. Love the blue. Okay. Explaining process. Okay, so Natasha said something. So I was thinking to add the yellow, right, or the white, right? Yes, exactly. So, but you can see, Natasha, and everybody watching, you can see that this isn't like, I mean, yes, it's complex, and yes, there are geniuses out there. Like, I have a friend who's in art school, and he could just, like, amazing things in any medium, in any, like, he just creates beauty every time he puts anything to paper. But it's some common sense things. It's like breaking down like any other process, and it's getting experience. And so I think sometimes we look at the creative arts, visual arts, digital arts, language arts, anything that takes creativity, and we tend to put this label on it, like those people that do that are somehow mystical, or they have some ability that none of us have. And the reality is, yes, we all have different levels of natural ability, no matter what avenue. However, all of us have the ability to learn to solve the problem. So all of us can look at this, and we would all come up with a little bit different layout, some more accurate than others. However, understanding that, oh, this is how this is put together, once you learn that, it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, so that is exciting to me. I do enjoy also explaining the process. That's why I like having people here, because I'm an external processor. So you all are actually helping me. When I'm thinking through these things, I can kind of process what I'm thinking. And then, especially as you're responding, that really helps me. And I just like chatting with people because I'm an extrovert, so it makes it more fun. If I'm going to be here, this is in the back. You can see in the back corner of my back room. You can't see this side of because there's all kinds of stuff back here that's like just piled up storage. But maybe sometime I'll do maybe on Instagram, some night I'll do a special tour of my junk room. But this corner I cleaned up nice. So, but yeah, when I'm back here by myself, having you guys here is really fun. So I appreciate those of you who dial in and hang out. So, okay, so we're getting some rough color in. The yellows are here. Um, Now, the final thing, which is going to be the most difficult of this painting, is going to be the clouds. So, let's talk, children. So, when we lay in the clouds, we have these pinks, and then they turn orange and orange and orange all the way down to the yellow. Um, and I'm not sure exactly how to get the right consistency of these clouds. So I think we just have to dive in. I typically use this brush, which is a round top. They call this a filbert brush. I didn't know that until I started watching lots of tutorials to do clouds. And when it dries, then you can dab, or Alec, was it? Did we say, Alec? If you're still on, did we say the stabbing technique? I was doing this with trees, and I was stabbing the canvas, and I think Alex said use the stabbing technique. So that can create clouds because what we want to do in these heavier areas where the clouds are less see-through, that's where you want to lay your obviously brightest color. That gives the I shouldn't be doing that on my because this is still a tad wet still from last night. Um, so we want in the brightest spots to put the color because that's where your eye perceives the reflection of light. So to create that perception, we want to use the heaviest paint. So I want to lay in the rough, um, I guess, the rough layout of where these clouds are going to be on the canvas. And then as we get less and less paint on the brush, you kind of move out, and then it creates that appearance of kind of the translucent quality of the cloud. However, that's all theory, and I've seen other artists do it, but can I recreate it? We will see. And that's part of the fun. I was telling some people watching a couple weeks ago, I'm mindful that I am learning quickly, and there are things that I know to do and not to do, and now I know to next time do light first and then the dark on top. Um, there are things that I learn every single time I put the brush to the canvas, and I am a little sad, if that makes sense, that as I get better and better, I won't have as many things that I am just trying out. Like right now, I'm like explaining what I'm about to do, and we will see if it works. And there's a little bit of excitement in me that's like, this could really mess up. And I especially experienced that when I was painting the llama the other last weekend. I didn't know, and still, I'm happy with it, but I can see there's things to improve. And so that's part of the fun for me but I'll have to keep challenging myself and bring greater challenges to this group as I go. Anyway, so that's kind of the deal. Sharing an extrovert's experience remotely is perfect for us introverts. Yeah, absolutely. You can listen to me rant. You don't have to talk back unless you want to, and you can always log out, and I'll never know you're gone. Other than I'll see numbers. I don't. I just see it says 5 people are on. So across the different platforms, because I'm simulcasting on Twitter. I don't typically have people yet joining through Twitter. I don't have a lot of people following me on Twitter. I can't simulcast obviously on Instagram, although I do post there saying that people can come on over. But yeah, we're live actually on Facebook and YouTube, which is kind of nice on the weekends. I don't have to worry about running out of time. On the weekdays when I do Instagram Live, you can only go an hour at a time. So usually I do 2 sessions, an hour each. But yeah, so that's the deal. Okay, enough delaying. Can you tell I am kind of procrastinating? Okay, so let's go in. Let's start mixing. What do y'all think? Should we start with these orange clouds down here and then go to the pinks, or should we start with the pinks? Something says we should maybe try the oranges first, because they're the most bright and the most vibrant, and then work out towards the other. What do y'all think? Okay, Natasha, you say start with the pink, so go opposite. Start with the pinks, and then come down to the oranges. Then add orange to the pink as you go down. Okay, that's a good point. Start with the pink and then saturate it more and more. Yeah, because this is the lighter. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. I wonder if I have... Oh, I do. Look at this beautiful pink. So, y'all, this is funny. When I started painting, I bought one of these little sets at Michael's that had, I think, 20 different little vials of, or tubes of paint, and they were all different colors. And I thought, oh, I'll do these small ones, and then I'll test and see which I'm going to need to buy, the larger tubes of, which I use most. And as I started learning from other painters, I realized that you really need a very limited palette, probably total, maybe 6 to 8 paints in your palette. And once you learn how to use those 6 to 8 colors, you can mix almost any other color. The more you get, the more, I guess, skilled you get at mixing. And so I'm trying to use up these other colors that are like the pinks and the like bright greens and different things, that I can use them up, and then from there on I'll use kind of the standard blue, reds, greens, browns, blacks, to mix. So anyway, but I do have this pink, so this is a great opportunity to use it. So I'll take the bright pink. It's like a bright fuchsia, and it's gonna be really too bright for what we need to, because it's like a Barbie pink. I don't know if you could see that. You all can see it on my palette. See that Barbie pink? And I'm already diffusing it a little with some white. We will take it down a few notches, and we'll actually diffuse it. So we'll have some really light ethereal pink, and then we'll have the darker. Okay, so let's put a little water in there, and I am gonna just, see what I mean? Stab the palette, dab, 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 and then, yay! Natasha says perfect. Woohoo! Okay, have Natasha's seal of approval. Okay, so what I see when I look at this is, about here is where I start getting orange tones. So I'm going to lay in some of these clouds, just the basic shape. And then what I can do is, once I have the basic shape, as I move into the orange, I can make, hopefully, this is the theory, then I can add these orange highlights over, and it will look good. So let's try this. Let's just start in here, and with the brightest spots. So there's a cluster of clouds like right up in here that kind of goes up to the, and then there's some over here, and they kind of go upwards that way too. Now this is a square canvas, and obviously this is long. Ooh, I'm getting paint splatters. I don't know if you can see that. There's big old paint splatters. But, so I'm kind of going to have to take some creative license with this. And so I'm just trying to lay in some shapes and the placement of these clouds using, as Alec would say, the dabbing technique. And I do want this blue to show through on some of these. The main thing I want to do from the standpoint of composition is I do want to make sure there is this feeling, even though this is a um, square canvas, I do want the feeling of the eye moving toward this yellow corner, because that's how it is. The composition, how Mimi took this photo, it draws your eyes this direction, and the tree balances this bright on this side. So we want to, I want to make sure that the clouds are driving us that direction as well, if that makes sense. So, okay, so we go here, lay in some more. Let's give some more perspective or some more clouds here. There was kind of this big, oop. Okay, see, so there. And I'm going to let my eye kind of just determine where these clouds need to be. I heard an artist say something really important, I think, on a tutorial or a painting video this week. A lot of artists say, or teachers of art, and I've heard this before from people, paint what you see, not what you think you see. And that's good, especially as a beginner. I recognize how easy it is to paint what you think you see, and that can get you in real, that has its own challenges. That can get you in some problems. However, this particular artist said he encouraged to, yes, paint what you see, but then paint your interpretation of what you see. So there's part of it that is the realism of getting, you know, the colors right and the composition right, but then there's also the interpretation of what you see. And so that's something I've been thinking about recently as I am like practicing, to give myself the space and recognize when it's time for me to paint the interpretation of what I see, which I think this is a great opportunity in these clouds to do that, because I do have this um, situation where I have a square canvas. Painting my interpretation of what I see allows me to really not worry about painting exactly the clouds that are here, but kind of my interpretation of the clouds that are here, if that makes sense. So notice this. Notice how as my um, as my brush runs out of paint, then I'm able to come down here and do lighter tones and more see-through tones. That allows me to paint the basic structure, or start to put in the structure of some of these other clouds, which will go in here kind of at an angled, because even though they'll be covered up with orange, having the pink glow around them can be really important. Okay, so we have some clouds up in here. Let's do some. Now I realize my goal is to take some of these hard lines out, because the acrylic dries so quickly that you'll get those hard lines, and then that can make your clouds look not at all realistic. And so we'll keep working those as we go. That's going to be an ongoing. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so actually I realized I'm going to have to, let's take this right off the, oh, I got some water on there. See how quickly it goes. I'm going to have to actually run to change my water. Let me show you something. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad it's relaxing. I enjoyed it, and I appreciate you being here. Look at this water, how quickly, see how it turned blue? And so when I went to put pink up there with a little water, it started running blue down my painting, which I don't really want. So I will be back in like 30 seconds. Let me clean out this water, and I'll be back with clean, fresh water. I think I need some like music or something when I go change my water. I need like some relaxing music that's like timeout music or something. Maybe I'll have to work on that. I'll be right back. All right, all right. We are back. Clean water. Woohoo. Okay. So, thanks for holding down the fort, y'all. And we are going to continue now with a smaller brush. What I was wanting to do was switch to, I have a small, I don't know if this is actually a filbert. Let's see if it tells me. I feel like an old guy because I just lifted my head to look. My eyes are so bad I can't see clearly over there, but when I look here, I have to lift my head to look under my glasses. So might need bifocals if. So you can see this little, maybe that will help. Yeah, you can see this little brush is kind of rounded as well. But for this size of a canvas, I think it'll help me lay in some of the... Got a little rowdy while I was... So what was going on, Natasha? Starting the party while I'm gone. It's kind of like parents are away, the kids get crazy, huh? All right. So what I wanted to do was try to lay in some of these smaller clouds, so that they would look like they're further away, if that makes sense. So let's put these wispy clouds. There's some wispy kind of clouds up in here. They're in the distance, and they're just kind of hanging out there. And we'll just kind of use our finger to make them disappear almost. And these kind of connect out, and they're just kind of right out in there. I am not at all thrilled necessarily with these clouds, but it's a first attempt. So the good thing about acrylics is that you can paint over them fairly easily. Okay. So let's put some of these. There's a bunch of these that are like bright orange, kind of all together. So let's put those in, at least the location of them. Then we have kind of some bigger misty clouds that are orangey. So we'll put those in. Then here, a lot of this will be covered up with the trees anyway. So, oh, I just died. Oh, it was a Moticon fest. Yes, amazing, amazing. Okay, let's see what we can do with these. Now, we want to start these here. the feeling of these clouds. So let's see what we can. We'll see. I always love this part of the process because it's like kind of where the painting is just not at all like I want it. It's just, it feels like I still have the Barbie pink, which is really bold and blech. It's not at all translucent like I want. And then I just don't have the composition I want. But I love, again, the process of trying to figure out, okay, what's not working for me in this painting and how do I fix it? How do I really, painting to me is making a mess and then figuring out how to fix it. How do we again, these will be all, I'm laying them in kind of just in this pink because I know that the orange will cover it. Yes, absolutely, Natasha. Great observation. Actually, I think somewhere here I have a sponge. I'm not sure. But yes, what I can actually do, yes, a sponge. However, I can use the actual paint, like as I paint, I can bring more water in, and soften those hard lines and blend them out because the acrylic is so. In some regards, like people who paint in oils say it's unforgiving because it dries so fast, and oils literally can take months to dry, all the way. And so with oils, like you can paint like, but with an oil base, like if we did oils, we could paint like one major, like we would have done the skies, and then we'd have to let it sit for a day or two. Where this, I can pretty much do a full painting within a couple hours. Speaking of couple hours, we are just past the 1 hour mark. Can you all believe that? Can you believe it? Crazy, crazy, crazy. Especially if you've been here from the beginning. You deserve a special treat. Unfortunately, I don't have any, but you should be commended for your dedication to, I don't know, my relaxation this evening. Okay, so we're going to kind of put some more clouds in. I mixed some more paint, so that's why it's coming in a little more heavy, or it appears more full. So we're going to try to soften these edges with. All right, so remember when I said the yellow was so harsh? So what I'm trying to do here is give that yellow some soften those harsh lines by creating clouds, because you'll notice there are clouds around this. So there's going to be orange then that goes in the middle there, but if I can soften that by essentially covering up some of that blue and the sharp lines, I can create kind of a fuzzy, basically a fuzzy layer around that yellow, and that will help hopefully hide or blend some of that harsh lines. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so see how I'm laying the pink in there? That will eventually be orange, but hopefully then it will blend with the yellow, so I can kind of fix that mistake fairly easily. And then this is all kind of cloudy. There's kind of smoky, hazy clouds all over here. So I'll just use that same kind of brush stroke. We got some bright, and we'll just diffuse that as much as possible. mixing a little water to make it kind of flow out, and then just blend, 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 blend. There goes the blue. Bye-bye blue, a little bit at least. And hopefully then this will give us that feeling we're looking for in the clouds of just wispy, kind of smoky clouds. And hopefully I can do that same thing up here with some of these. That's the intent, at least. Clouds are easy and tough at the same time, especially in acrylics, because again, it does dry so quickly. Yeah. So, okay. So that will give us some wispy kind of feeling. We'll see. Okay, so I'm not upset with this. This is a mess from my perspective. Like, this is a mess, but I think we can fix it. Meditation. Really? It's funny because one of my friends, I was just on a virtual movie night, and one of my friends, Nate, said that my live streams were like Bob Ross. And I don't see it. I mean, other than I'm painting, and you can watch, and you don't have to wait for a show on PBS. But I don't see myself very Bob Rossi, but Bob Rossi. There is a guy named Kevin Hill on YouTube who I've done a lot of his tutorials, and he's a great painter, really good painter. And he speaks like Bob Ross. He speaks very soft and soothing. And so, yeah, if you're interested in that, definitely go over and check out Kevin's work. Kevin Hill, I think. Just search Kevin Hill Painter on YouTube. I think his site or his channel is called Paint with Kevin. And he actually, he has a whole business, and he's good. So yeah, highly recommend checking him out. Okay, look at this. I tried this. Hey Bob, so good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I bet the sun it was so nice today. I bet the sun is beautiful down. I may have to steal that or borrow that image from you. So this image is actually, if you know Mimi San Pedro, she took this image a few days ago, or maybe a week ago. There was a really nice sunset, and she took this and let me use it. So that's what we're working on. Okay. Hey there, Chase. So glad to have you. Thanks for popping in. So as I was saying to my friend Bob, this is a is a photo that my friend Mimi took here in Little Rock. So we're just attempting this is the first time I've done a sunset or sunrise. Never done one of these. So we're learning. But I wanted to show everybody, notice how kind of cartoony and not real these clouds look up here. And then when you get down here, they start to look more real. And how I said, I don't like this. It didn't work, how we started. However, notice this one versus this one. Over here, I took a little bit of this same technique and ran it along the bottom of this cloud. And can you see how much that kind of smooths out that cloud and makes it look more realistic and more wispy? So I noticed quickly that worked. So I'm going to use that same technique and try to smooth out some of these hard lines on the clouds up here. And I think we may get a better outcome. So we're just gonna keep playing with it. Although while I was talking, my palette dried out, so have to mix some more paint and take some water into it. That's a good thing. You can bring some water, and especially in this thing or in this type of painting where I'm not worried about it being watered down. That's what we're going for. So okay, let's see. So we have some here. So let's go in here and just see if we can kind of wisp. That's a little too It's a little too white. I want it a little pinker, I think. So, okay, let's see if we can. Really, what we're trying to do is run the brush out of paint. Run the brush out of paint and smooth out some of these hard lines. But again, at the beginning, what we were testing is kind of just putting these clouds in the place we wanted them. So it's not all a bad thing, but we'll just see if we can create some better. It's the same, just a dab of water, the same thing. Okay, let's go up here and try to smooth some of these out. The goal is I'm taking my brush and going clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise, so that I hopefully get a little bit more organic appearance of the clouds as opposed to, all looking uniform. That's something you have to practice as you're painting nature that I realize is because human beings, we want to categorize everything and we want to make things standard. And so, especially painting things like trees or clouds or waves, we can tend to get kind of caught in very, even these, they kind of all look like bloop, 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 relatively horizontal, which is what I want, but they can end up looking a little, again, cartoony and not very organic, not very real. So Daniel, you had given a suggestion earlier. I didn't. I saw it and then didn't pull it in. Let me see if it's still in my. And Daniel, I don't even know if you're still on. But would be cool to do a series of paintings, one from each state you've lived in. Yeah, I would. That would be cool. Right now, I want to do some fall. I have 2 or 3 fall foliage type paintings, so I'm working on those. Those will be a small series, like 1 or 2. But yeah, I think it would be cool to do, especially because I've lived some beautiful places. I have lots of pictures up when I lived in southern Wisconsin. It's gorgeous. Of course, Arkansas is breathtaking. Um, Depending, and the Ozarks are beautiful, and there's lots of places. And then I would have to find. I just did not take a lot of nature photos, or when I lived in Nebraska, just because that was home and I didn't think of it. But actually, I guess the painting that I did last night with Amy, my friend Amy. So this is Nebraska. So yeah, um, I could absolutely do a Nebraska or a places I've lived series. That's a great idea. Natasha, you should paint a Paint with Steve series and have guests come paint with you. Okay, so Natasha, you're just brilliant. So as I've become more and more obsessed with this hobby, I would love to do collabs with other painters. Like, I would love to have a little studio space, a little bit. It'd have to be a little bit bigger than this, and because this is just my spare room. And I'll tip you guys backwards. Hold on to your stomachs. So that's my light in here. Whoops. I don't think you can see it, but it's a fan light. Not the best for painting. So if I had studio space, it'd have to be better lighting. But I would love to paint with some other painters, especially people who are more skilled than I. Like, I just think that would be awesome. Um, and that's gonna bother me. Yeah, so I think like painting with other people. Another thing that I really love to do when in a little bit, like not a little bit, but in a while, once I have a certain level of competency and skill, I would love to get a group of people and that whether they follow my live streams or whatever, people who are interested in painting, I would love to be able to send out, like at the beginning of the month, send out the reference photos that I'm going to paint that month, like this one and others, and then give like a list of supplies. So if somebody's just starting, they can know what to get ahead of time. And then they could join and paint. And as long as they set up their phone or a tablet or something, they could paint with the live stream. And we could talk about, like, when they get stumped, we could talk and kind of crowdsource, some, if people are having difficulty, we could talk through it, and as I get better, I'd be able to help, or other people that are better painters in the group. But yeah, you're absolutely thinking along those lines that I'm thinking of. I'd love to have people collab, and I'd love to be able to have people on the live stream, especially the weekend live streams, since those are more planned and a little easier. Have people are who paint along with me. Yeah, that would be cool. Very cool. Okay. I am much preferring this, what I've been doing the last several minutes, while you have been so kindly, patiently waiting for me to actually do something more interesting. Um, this has actually toned down kind of the Barbie pink. It has also given us some kind of wispy feeling to the clouds. I still have some really hard lines up in here because those were the first sections we painted. So it's probably, unless I just paint over them, which I may do, it's going to be hard to soften those um, because they are so hard, especially like right in here. It's just really clear. Like they're just, you can see the brush marks. So, but we are getting much better. It's much better than it was. Much better than it was. And I haven't painted clouds in so long that, like, I remember this happening the first time when I first started painting. I was painting clouds, and I was so frustrated because my clouds were not looking well. And I did the exact same thing. So I need to take some. There are lots of tutorials on how to paint clouds, but everybody, you kind of develop your own technique and the things that work for you. And the only way to do that is really you just got to practice. You got to try, and you have to observe. Like, I drive about an hour to Hot Springs where my school is. And I literally, when I'm driving, I will sit and watch the clouds if it's a cloudy day, and I will look at the shapes of the clouds and the colors of the clouds and and I do the same with trees. Like, I try to pay attention as I'm out in nature, so that what comes out of my head can be more and more realistic. Now, this is not realistic at all. I'm realizing it looks like a giant cloud monster or something, doesn't it? Doesn't he look like a cloud monster? Oops. Let's kind of try to help him out a little bit. We'll try to make him disappear a little bit, so he's not so monstery and he's more gentle giant of the skies. You all will only be the only ones that kind of know he exists. Once he's gone, you'll be able to remember that he was there. Hopefully. I don't know. He may still be there. I don't like it. I don't like how it is. But we'll just figure it out. We will figure it out. That's my mantra for life. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. We will figure it out. So, yep. We will. We will figure it out. Okay. Zoom paint party. Yay, I'm no for that. Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Once I get where I can, like, actually I'm organized and I'm good enough to kind of plan ahead, I will definitely. I've thought of putting up on my website, like putting up a page where people can sign up for an email list, so that when I start to do that type of a thing, I can, like a live stream with other people painting, I can just let people know. So I may do that. I may do that. We will see. Okay, we need to, like, I am not happy with him at all. Ugh, it's just not. Yeah, it's not working. So it wouldn't be the first time that I have like repainted a whole sky. So I may have to do that, but we're gonna let it sit for a minute and we're gonna think on it. Um, what is my website? Chase, it's Stephen E. Rice, Stephen with a V, E as in Edward Rice.com. Right now, it's just generic. There is no sign up, email sign up, but it's something I've thought of doing as I've gotten more into this hobby. So that's yes, absolutely, Natasha. Come back over with the blues and the purples. Yes. So I'm going to step back a little bit out of your frame just to look at this. Um, yeah, it is kind of as bad as I thought. So, which is fine. Let's. I think what I want to do is start actually doing the oranges, because if I can get this part where I like it, then this part will be easier. As Natasha said, I can come in with the blues around here. I can mute out because the blue is darker, obviously, than the pink. So I can pull in the blues and purples and make those clouds just disappear. Um, yeah, that's a good idea. Good idea. See, having you all here is so beneficial. Let me pull this big old jug of water. We're right in Arkansas. We're right in that place between sweltering hot, like 90s, hundreds, and 40 and 30 where it's cold. So it's getting cool tonight, but it was nice today. So I turned off my heat and opened my windows, but I'm wearing long sleeves tonight. But it got pretty warm. It's pretty warm back in here. So actually, I wonder if I just pivot this way. Sorry to turn my back on you all for a second, but I can probably just open a window and get a little cool air in here. Oh, yeah, we're going to do that. Yay. Yes. I'm agreeing with Chase and Natasha, or with Natasha. Come back in with the blues and the purples. So, but before that, let's see if we can do I want to see if we can get some oranges on here and see if that will, yeah, see what that looks like. All of this is, that's the fun part about, being brand new to the hobby, because everything I paint, I mean, it may not be exactly new. I've painted some clouds before, I've painted some trees before, but a lot of it is really new, which is a lot of fun. So I'm learning as I go. So one of the things with yellow and orange is that they are really powerful colors. And so you can actually tone them down. Not that way. Nope, nope, nope. Tone them down with... I'm going to mix just a tad of the pink so that we get almost a pinkish orange. Let me see. This is... I think that could work. So... we want to go... This will almost look pink probably to y'all on screen, but we're going to go in here and put in these bright oranges. because it's so... Should be able to go in. Yeah, it just lays right over those pinks. And then we can put highlights, which are going to be more orange, even stronger orange. I kind of like how that's turning out. Yes, I do. As long as I'm careful not to get really hard lines in the orange. I think the key is to get many layers. Again, this will be covered up over here with trees, probably, eventually. Okay. There we go. I'm kind of liking, we'll see once it dries, but kind of liking how this bottom part of the painting is showing out. Okay. All right, we'll get some. What I'm realizing, this orange down in here is almost like it's like a fire orange. And I painted a picture with fire in it, and I can't remember what we mixed to give that fire orange, because I want it to stand out. It's almost like, let me try this. Here's something we're gonna, this is the creativity. So this seems weird, but let's test it. On my palette, you see the orange. I brought some of this bright kind of Bert and Ernie orange over and mixed it in. But if I put that onto there, it's just gonna look, again, these are too pure, the oranges and yellows. But down here it's this fiery, there's like yellow in the middle, there's like, and there's almost like a ridge of kind of reds, I don't know. But so what I did here is some burnt sienna, which is actually a brown, and I'm wondering if I can bring some of that. It has kind of an orange tone to it. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. So look at the difference. If I bring a little burnt sienna into it, look at how it not only tones it down, but makes it much more rich. At least it's hard to see on there. But it makes it, so let me try to bring that up. against that here, especially in these. See if we can get these and blend kind of, because against the yellow it's going to look like really bright orange, even though there's the brown in there. So let's do that. See if we can. Let's do that. A little more brown. Yeah, it's crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay, so, and let me put in some of these lines across here. Down on the horizon, there's just these small little cloud areas. Not above using the finger to, not giving the finger, using the finger to blend some of these in to make them less harsh. Yes, 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 y'all. I think I like this a lot. And then what we'll do is, so we bring the kind of this orange into here with the yellows, and then we'll into the orange out here, we'll bring highlights of kind of the pinks and peaches. So we'll see. But I think it's gonna actually work. At least sometimes you have to recognize the effort. Orange with a little yellow. Yes. I think that will be good. Orange with a yellow and a touch of red, or even this brownish. Like, this is what I think. Because around all of these are. I think those will be good for highlights. Okay. Let's see. Additional. A little more. Maybe. because we're going to have like a tree, these trees right in here as well. So some of this will be covered up. In there, I'm going to want to darken, bring in the dark in again and kind of blend that in. But I'm going to get some. Then I want to bring in, again, some of this orange, lighten it up a little bit, and take it up into here. Not sure I'm liking this. I'm too critical. Too critical. Need to just calm down. Tell me to calm down. Say, calm down, Steve. Calm down. Too critical. Too critical. Okay. Need to bring in some of this lighter orange. Because even though that's the thing that one of the things that is difficult, because your eye will see things you think you see, and it's actually not necessarily true. So your eye thinks it sees maybe straight lines of orange, but what it really sees is some white orange, yellow orange, red orange, brown orange. There's all these variations, and learning to see that or to notice it and then being able to bring it into your painting is really important if you're going to get something that looks anywhere close to real. You want to have those variations. You want to have that difference. So, all right, this is what we have so far, y'all. I'm not loving this yet, but I'm not hating it. I'm pretty much still hating this, but it's not as bad as it was or could be. So, thank you, Natasha. You're gonna be my designated cheerleader in residence. You're well, you already know this, but you're an encourager, so I appreciate it. Yes, I have to be calm because this is just fun. It's it's fun. It's not it's just art. I hate to say just art, but it's art. Like, you can't mess it up. There's no wrong way to do it. Like, it's just mental health therapy in this situation for me. It's just to keep my sanity when I go into the real world. So there's that. What I just noticed that I want to kind of do, because it's top of eyes, is that there are in the center, kind of there is this, okay, I need to tone that down quite some. In the center of this orange spot is a very faded yellow kind of right in there. Do you all notice that? Like some faded, it's not separate from the cloud, the orange, but the eye sees some yellow in here. And so, like right in the middle of this, I don't know if that's too bright, but there's like some yellow. I think that might be too bright, or not enough yellow. And it's just all blended together. There's some points like right in there where it's much more visible, and the light kind of shines. And there's kind of some dark spots. This is the fun part, or part of the fun part, where it's just you get to like make it whatever you want and choose what shapes the clouds are, and put the highlights where you want them. All right. I've put a little white yellow in there. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty, at least on the camera. I like that a lot. Isn't that pretty? It's turning really bright, and then how this, you'll have the tree over here, so it'll lead right into this. Then if I can just fix this, oh, won't that be a nice painting? Even with no more detail work. Okay, now I'm feeling better. See, I just have to walk myself off the ledge a little bit. I'm going to have to scrub the monitor, as Daniel said before, so. Okay. Wow. Still says there's 5 of you out there. Thank you for sticking with my sometimes dysfunction. Not dysfunction, but obsessiveness. I become like obsessive. I'm a perfectionist and a control freak in my real world, my real life. Ha! So, I just want it. I recognize it won't be perfect, but I also want it to be like perfect as I can get it. Of my current level of skills. Often, if you watch on Instagram, I'll post you know, done to the level of current skill or current skill level. And so, yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think the red, and in the pink, I went a little too pink, but there's some, like, on the edge of the pink is, like, this orangey red. Um, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. I want to. This really is just a matter, like this type of a thing, it's a matter of a practice, really. Um, really in mixing different kinds of colors and looking at what works, and what doesn't. So, yeah, it absolutely is an ongoing process. I got where I was fairly good at mixing greens, like for trees and different types of foliage, however you say that word. But I've never mixed like for a sky. But this is one way to do it, right? The cool thing is you mix these little bits of little pads of paint and apply them, and then you have to remix because you run out of paint. And so you're constantly mixing variations of the colors and different variations. So you can get some really pretty layers if you're patient. So we will do this Saturday Night Live. Hola, Ana. Glad to have you. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Pop in and say hello. I always appreciate your hearts and likes on Instagram. I hope you and the family are well. Everybody in Puerto Rico. Say hello to everybody. Midna, Jessica, and Ian Marie, everybody. Justin, if you see them. This one over here on this side, there's kind of these. I don't know if they're like jet trails or they look like maybe just clouds because I don't think the jets would fly that close together. But I'm just kind of staggering kind of stuttering the brush across to kind of, because the clouds are in the distance, they're so far, but it gives me kind of semi straight lines. And then we'll do some larger kind of vapor
shapes underneath them. I got some hard lines there, so I'm going to try to get rid of those. Too much paint in the brush. Okay. Looking pretty, pretty. What is up here? There's this orange color. Kind of orangey. It's a light kind of. Sorry, there's not much commentary going on. This is just kind of tedious work. Not tedious, but not very interesting for you all to watch. I recognize that. So, but let me show you kind of what we're getting so you can see. Oops. See how pretty this is getting over here? I guess I can. Yeah, we're getting some really good blending colors in there, and these clouds are looking more and more real. So that's kind of what is going on. Then there needs to be kind of a. Actually, I wonder if I blend straight white with. Because clouds, like anything in nature, are lights and darks, and shadow and light. And so I'm taking basically some straight burnt sienna, which is a red brown, and mixing it with white. Actually, I wonder if I put a little, what would happen if I put a little yellow in there? Little yellow. Then you get blend in some of these hard colors down in here. Or hard lines. Okay. Now I think actually there's also a little. So I don't want it to be muddy, but I do want to introduce. There's a little. There's purple in these clouds, so. I'll kind of bring that back. There's kind of a dark spot, that dark kind of purple blue right there. Let's do, actually, a little more. Ouch. The ultramarine. Oop. Don't want to wipe it. I just want to blend it. I really like this color, so it's good for these areas of the clouds, like defining these clouds a little more. We get to put the sky, basically we get to put the sky back in. So we gotta figure out how to do this so it doesn't look, so it blends in and not look too fake. Okay. Okay, sometimes you get a little too close, so I got to step back again. Okay. I like where we're going with this. So, let's keep plugging along, doing a little bit of blue, a little bit of purple, a little bit of white to mix this. Make this sky a little more, on this end at least, a little more purple against the oranges. All right. Whew. Not quite working the way I want, but you can see what I'm trying to do here. Whoops. Doing some more of the purple blending across, because you'll notice this is much more purple in the blue up in here. So I think it's actually better, but I just have to figure out how to make it work. But again, like I said, in the middle of this, part of the fun part of the process is getting into that point where you're like, this is not what I want. Let me figure out how I get what I want. How can I do this so that it looks. And for this painting, it obviously looks very simple. And I said at the beginning, the challenge will be the blending of the colors and getting, because the composition is fairly simple, like it's not hard, like it's just trees and sky, but getting the sky correct. Because if you don't get the sky correct, everything looks really bad. Hey Valerie, thanks for joining. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks, Natasha.
we are getting there, y'all. But you can, those of you that have been kind of hanging out with me for a while, you you can kind of see the process, and how it unfolds. Like, it's not just a perfect put some colors in. It's and I mixed this color that I'm putting on now almost by accident, but I like it. It's a little bit, I don't even know what I did, but I'm going to use it while it's on my palette, because it's a little bit of a lighter purple, and it's a good blending between the pinks and the purples of the sky and the pinks of the clouds. It's a good softening color. It kind of softens the edges of these clouds that I didn't like back from the beginning, remember? So, you figure, you kind of go and figure things out, and then something works, and you're like, whoa, I didn't even expect that. And it works, and it does something you want it to do. And so you finesse the port or the picture into what you want it to be in some ways. And it's, are you persistent enough, or are you patient enough, and will you keep trying until you get it the way you want? That's the challenge. That's it, y'all. That is it. Will you keep going? Will you keep working? Will you keep trying? There's another artist that I follow. I think his name is Chuck. I can't remember maybe Chuck Smith. But he paints a lot this way, where he will do even a whole painting and then repaint the whole thing and change. He'll move mountains from this side to that side, or he'll put in a new pond or stream or something. And eventually he'll get what he wants out of the painting. And that's definitely kind of part of the process, at least for me right now. Really kind of figuring out what works, what doesn't, and then finding the in between.
Okay. We've now been going 2 hours and 13 minutes. Those of you who are here, who all has been here from the very beginning? Is there anybody that was here at the very beginning that's still hanging out? Natasha, were you? I think you came in at just right, fairly at the beginning, but I don't think you were here at the very, very beginning. Anybody here that was here when we very first started at 9 o'clock Central Time? That said, I think that I am going to perhaps right as I started painting the blue. Yeah, you were almost at the very beginning then. Because I did kind of 15 minutes of kind of talking methods and philosophy and where we were going. But yeah, you were. All right. I'm thinking like I'm wrapping this up, not the painting, but this session in the next 15 minutes or so. Because 2.5 hours is plenty of time for you to listen to my ramblings, and I think I need to sit with this a little bit, and kind of let it sit for a second, and then come back to it. And a second meaning at least overnight. So I am going to probably take a break and do that. However, I think that trying to picture develop some nuance. Put a little more detail in these clouds out here, give it a little more, some highlights. Just soften some of these edges. That's the goal. Trying some more stuff. Ah, thank you so much. So the bottom right, you like those. The top left. So we like that. I don't like this one as much, but you love the pink. Okay. Cool. Maybe it's a shape I don't like. Um, so yeah, I'll keep working on that. I need to figure out how to make it all work, but I'm determined. Just because I'm inspired by Mimi's photography, it's so beautiful that I don't want to leave it. I don't want to leave it without doing everything I can to make it. Basically, it doesn't. I'm not trying to make it look exactly like the photo, but I want people to feel the same feeling when they look at the painting. I want them to have that same feeling of, wow, that's beautiful. That's what, specifically with the brightness of the colors, the vibrancy, that's what I want to create. And that'll take a little bit of effort and time, but I'm going to keep working on it a little bit. I may have to redo these clouds in the top. I'll keep working with them, see if I can fix them, but they may just have to die. And I may have to come back and work at them. I may work on them with some daylight as well, because that might give me a different perspective, I think. just because the daylight will be it'll be better light than this. Okay. I'm going to have to put some more detail in here to bridge the two, but if I can get that right, I think it'll work little by little. Little by little. All right. Well, let's look at this. Obviously, up on it's going to be brighter on the screen because those are LED lights in 4K. But you can start to see where it's going, and it's little by little getting there. Let me move my big old seat back. Let me see. I wonder. Let me try something. I'm going to change y'all to this, and I'm going to take my, take my camera, my phone out of the, change the camera. Okay, now, don't want to make y'all ill. Okay. Got it. So I'll switch back to this so you all can see how it's been. Okay. That's weird. I guess it is because I didn't flip. There we go. Now you can see the image in the right proportion. So there's the reference photo, and there's our attempt. It's clearly an interpretation of this, but it's not bad at all. Especially once we get this cleaned up and the trees in there. I think I'll be pretty happy for a first try at a sunset. So, there we go. All right. So I'm going to just hold this up. So I apologize for the shaky, but I do want to say thank you so much for hanging with me this evening. And I have enjoyed doing this more than probably you've enjoyed watching it, but I really appreciate all of you staying with me. Natasha, Chase, everybody who contributed to the conversation, thanks so much. It makes my night so much better. And I'll be on Instagram throughout the week whenever I can squeeze a few minutes to paint. You can find me there. So if you don't follow me there, please feel free to do so. So you'll get notifications, and those are usually last minute where I just decide I'm going to paint. Usually I try to start by 7-ish, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Central. So that's usually the time I'm on if I'm going to be on after work. Otherwise, usually I will be on YouTube and Facebook on the weekends, Saturday or Sunday night. So you can find me painting here, and I hope that I will see you again throughout the week or next weekend. Actually, next weekend, maybe not, because I think I'm going to be out of town. This is our fall break for school, so yeah, we might have to put a pause for the next weekend, but definitely we'll pick up after that. So, again, thanks so much. Have a great evening. Hope the rest of your weekend is amazing, and I look forward to seeing you all at another live stream or on the interwebs in between. Take care. Have a great evening. Thanks so much. You too, Natasha. Good night, everybody.